Hello and welcome back to the only show who has a part of their brain being permanently occupied by Hera Syndulla, a section we've dubbed our Syndulla Obligata. I'm Max.
I'm Matt.
I'm Luke.
And this is Force for Thought. Alright, nothing like a little neuroscience joke to start us off, but welcome back. Today we are talking about Maul, Shadow Lord, episodes 3 and 4, Whispers in the Unknown, and Pride and Vengeance. And I don't know about you guys, but I think this show just keeps getting better. I am loving this so far. I think, well, I don't want to say too much off the rip. I do want to hear what you guys have to say.
Thank you.
Before I just absolutely glaze the show, I think it's amazing. I think this is like one of the best projects that Star Wars has done. I want to say ever, but certainly in a good long bit. But yeah, Luke, high level thoughts. What did you think of these episodes?
Strongly pro. I also really like them. Similar to last week, probably not as much as you, just because the style isn't really my favorite. But yeah, super good show. I have almost exclusively nice things to say about it.
This episode
Matthew?
you do. That's good to know. In the words of the Glow Pop Jiggly Jams, it just keeps getting better. Look up that band on Spotify. The album cover specifically for the second album is great. No, I agree. My jaw was on the floor again this week. I feel like we can say that a lot about a lot of things.
I got a loose jaw.
But it's been I got a pretty loose jaw for Star Wars. But it's been so good. The third episode specifically is like actually frightening, I would say. Like it's the scariest Star Wars I think we've gotten since Maul in Rebels when he's pretending to be like an old crippled man, which also just gives me the heebie-jeebies. And I feel like this is
that was like
scarier
10 years
than
ago.
that.
There must have been something scarier since then. That was so. I digress.
Think
Carry
about
on.
it.
I will.
I know. I'm trying to think as well. No, I think you're right. I think maybe you're right. Maybe there's something
Undead
with the
troopers in Ahsoka.
yeah. Yes, I think that was probably maybe scary. I don't know.
Biggs
This
almost
is
got
scary. This
raped.
is
That was pretty scary. That's different. though.
yeah, but not in like a different.
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
different.
yeah. Yes. But yeah, I think it's it's some of the scariest content. I'm thoroughly intrigued with all the characters. Two Boots, I don't understand how gravelly. I can't think of the cop's name right now because I'm in a heated tizzy. Lawson, but I can't believe how gravelly his voice is the entire episode. I feel like he has a cold. I would love for season 2 for him to clear that throat up. But no, I absolutely love it. I 1000% agree. I think it legitimately is aiming up to be one of the best animated show. I mean, it's hard because you have Clone Wars and Rebels kind of baked in. But like, if it's a 2-season and done, and it's a perfect like 24 episodes or 10 episodes or whatever, it's like on there with Andor in the fact of it being so tight and so concise and having. Even having it be Shadow, Maul, Shadow Lord. Like, I feel like in episode 4, it's kind of all like, oh yeah, it all clicks. It's like he's taking over these syndicates now, basically, and it's like, it's perfect. I'm loving it so far. Yes, very pro.
I cannot say in good conscience right now that this is the best Star Wars animated show above Clone Wars or Rebels, but it certainly has the potential. I think, I'm trying to come up with like a con. Like, it sounds like we're all saying like, oh, it's like almost exclusively. What is that almost? Like, if you had to come up with any critiques, what would it be? There was like one nitpick that I had in, I think it was episode 3, when they were trying to track down Maul, and Two Boots said he might have left the planet, and Lawson just says, unlikely, and then they kind of keep going, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
but why? Like, they didn't elaborate at all on why that's unlikely. I just kind of like shot that down. And it's like, as the audience, we're like, well, we know he is there, so like, I don't really care that much. But I was like, why even include that line at all if you're not going to
you're like, well, please
elaborate at all on it?
elaborate just a little bit.
That's so funny. That jumped out
That's
at
funny.
me too, but it didn't bother me. But I did think, because isn't that how we do detective work in the real world? Like, someone has an idea and you're like, not likely. Let's go this way, and then like, all right.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
That's not even how detective work. That's just like how jobs are. You're like, oh, you didn't like that idea that I spent 2 weeks thinking about? All right, let's move on from it.
it's also the double standard with animation too. It's just held to a slightly lower standard in that regard, where it's like, if that were in live action, I feel like it would be received with much more criticism. But it's like, I don't know. Like, it didn't like bother me, but I just kind of like chuckle at it. Just kind of like, okay. Kind of seemed like a valid point, but regardless, I mean, he was right. So, vindication, I suppose.
Before I gush over the 2 episodes, I will start with my one thing I didn't love was, and it's not even about this week because it was last week. I said I didn't love the way episode 2 ended. It felt unnatural. And when episode 3 started, it was like literally in the same scene. Like it felt even more like they just cut that scene at an arbitrary point just because it was 23 minutes long and that's how long they felt it needed to be. But like there were several other moments where you could have ended episode 2, like when Maul offers her tea, or like when she sees Maul the first time, and like it just felt even more retroactively unnatural, and that is the only thing that bothered me this week.
Do we know when this?
What, if any, criticisms do you have so far?
I'm honestly trying to think. I've been going in it with it's hard because watching Mandalorian season 3 and then Maul Shadow Lord back to back. It's just, I think it shows night and day of like what is really intriguing and interesting. And I don't think I have any real critiques on the show. I think what's showing it, giving me more critique is from other shows like Mandalorian season 3, to be honest, where I'm like, oh, I just want more of this versus half-ass other seasons. Again, good production, yada yada. But yeah, I don't think I can think of anything really.
Well, I'll balance out that.
Yeah, please do.
You had the feeling you're having because I have been rewatching Andor season 2, and so I feel kind of the opposite, where I'm watching now Maul Shadow Lord, and I'm like, well, it's not as good as Andor, but nothing is. Nothing
True.
ever will
No,
be.
Nothing is. It's just and
That's
I can't.
Struggle of every Star Wars fan for
I know.
Ever.
But
at this point.
that'll balance out Matt nicely sitting there saying, well, it's better than Mando season 3. Like, that's not what we're here to talk about. So
It's not, but it's so top of mind because we've been rewatching it. And also, I don't have a force for thought, but because we're not even at that segment yet, but we got to talk about Mando and Grogu movie. And I just saw an article today that was like, I don't think it's a guaranteed success. And it's like, I agree. Like, do they know it's not going to be? Where's the marketing? Anyway.
Yeah, there isn't any marketing. They're not. What success are they planning? Whatever. We're not talking about that today.
I know. I want to get into it.
I do want to
yes,
talk about
can.
that, though, because I'm pretty sure I read the same article. And it's basically just everything Luke has been saying on this podcast.
Yes.
If you've been listening for like the last 4 weeks. Actually, we had a weird like episode dump. So it was like, if you've listened to our last 4 episodes that we had to put out at the same time, there was probably a lot in there.
you guys found my
but
pseudonym
yeah,
article and you didn't even send it to me?
Luke, we're just trying to give you your flowers now because you are correct.
Yes.
A lot of the
I
time.
love being correct. Someone else on the internet agrees with me.
Real quick, guys, I know we're kind of off topic now, and I want to get off topic. I want to stay off topic for one more second because I think you guys would find this is funny. Levi is obsessed with saying Jar Jar to everything now.
Cute.
So we'll be like, Levi, do you want to have dinner? And he'll be like, Jar Jar. And so that's angersome to everyone else but me because it's very funny. And then does he say doo-doo now? Yes, because Jar Jar, you're in big doo-doo this time. Yes. And also angers people. But anyway, back on topic to Maul.
Yeah, Maul is a great show. And so the big emphasis is the characters. I think they are doing such a good job of building out the characters, particularly Lawson, who's just the normal human character. And I feel like that character exists in a lot of other Star Wars shows, and it's always my least favorite character. It's like in Rebels, like I don't really care about like the citizens of Lothal that we keep coming back to.
Never.
In Bad Batch, it's like there's a bunch of like Imperial bad guys. What's the guy's name? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it now. But it's like I don't really care about that guy. They're always just the least interesting. And Lawson is like one of my favorite characters in this show so far. And he's not a Jedi, he's not a bounty hunter, he's not anything. He's just a detective who just wants to catch Maul. And they're doing such a good job of building him out. They're giving him this backstory. They're showing this relationship with his kid, which is really interesting. And we got more of that in this last episode where he had this obvious lacrosse game, which I also thought was pretty funny that it's just lacrosse.
Space
apparently.
lacrosse, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, and then duty calls and he has to leave the game early, and like his relationship with his son is fracturing, and we also got like this little name drop of his ex-wife that apparently works for the Empire, which apparently contributes to his, disdain for it outside of the skepticism for the totalitarian regime that it is. And so it's like little things like that it's like, wow, this guy is just an onion, man. And it's like, I want to know more about him. And what's so interesting about this show is that Darth Maul is one of the coolest characters in all of Star Wars. And this show isn't changing that. This show is clearly leaning into it. It knows that he's cool. Like Luke joked about, like, it's just Maul aura farming the entire time. They're not making him uncool, but they're also not making him interesting. Like, unless he's just like whooping on people in a lightsaber duel, I really don't even want Maul on screen, because I'm just like, oh, give me more Devin at this point. We got more Docky content, Uncle Docky, which I really liked, and I started to like that character a lot more. And I'm like, oh, let's explore this relationship more, because Devin and Docky are back together. Are they going to start to fracture? Is she going to start leaning back towards Maul? And then the more content that we got with Devin or with Lawson and Two Boots was all fantastic. And I mean, the side characters in this show, they're doing a phenomenal job of building out. And I think this is like one of the best character development shows I meant to say one of the best animated character development shows in Star Wars.
If not the best, I guess, just because it doesn't have like coding of Rebels where it's.
I mean, you can't compare it to Rebels or Clone Wars. We're comparing 4 episodes against 4 seasons. Like, at this rate, Maul Shadow Lord is blowing Rebels out of the water. But you can't say that it's a better show because...
Yeah,
correct.
For sure.
At this rate, I guess is the only way that you can...
What I think that it has going for it is that it feels like it's written for a live action show. It just perchance happens to be animated, where all the other shows are animated shows, right? They're like, they have the animated tropes, and all of this stuff that I'm seeing here in Maul, I could see in live action if they were to do it in live action, and I feel like that'd be amazing to see. 3 quick things, Max. Are you talking about Callus in Rebels? That you don't like?
No, he was talking about in Bad Batch.
No, Bad Batch.
Hemlock or
Rampart? Bad Batch. Okay. Oh, yes. You're right. Okay.
Who was the first one that you said?
Hemlock?
Oh, Hemlock. Yeah, I forgot about him. No,
he's
Whisper
Whisper Boy with a bad arm.
Yeah. Yes. Whisper Boy. The other thing is, I did one complaint in this episode, in episode 3 specifically, if we're talking about nitpicking, is when Lawson goes down to the lacrosse game, and he's like, no, I'm good here. I don't need to go to that seat. That sucks for that family who's saving a seat. That's going to cause problems for them the entire game.
I hate saving seats. I agree. I had a same
It's the
thought.
worst. And so I had that thought.
People are coming up to them constantly. Can I please sit here? No, it's saved.
Yes, exactly. It's like, and then the person, like the security guard, is like, no saving seats. And then you're gonna be like, that's their code. They're in the bathroom, I swear, and they're not.
And they're
just
placing all the
just kind of
blame on Lawson too. They're like, no, I'm saving it for Riley's deadbeat dad, who's probably not even gonna show up.
Exactly. And but my biggest
we are
complaint
so old,
is,
but we actually predate the era of movie going when you get to reserve your seats on the app beforehand. I distinctly remember going to a movie theater by myself and having to save like 5 seats and just make sure no one else sits there, because I was the first one to get there, and I got to save seats for my friends, and no one else is coming until after the movie started, and everyone else is coming in like, oh, can we sit here? And I'm like, no.
I miss it so much.
Anxiety inducing.
But the part that I hated, not I hated, but like the nitpicking part, is when he leaves and the kid looks around, and it's like he can clearly see through the tunnel, which is like the excuse that why he was like, no, I'm gonna stay back here, was like, oh, like that's like the shot. It was like they were waiting for it. So that's the one complaint. And then the third thing is, do we know when the show takes place? Like, is there any chance? I don't know. I haven't even considered it until right now, to be honest. I've just been going along for the ride. But is there any chance that this will link up to Solo, just for the fact of all the underworld stuff that's going on?
So probably not this season, but I mean,
yeah.
This is the thing.
That would suck if it did.
Star Wars is that
have its own
so
legs.
many of their shows introduce new threads and then it gets canceled or they just kind of don't follow up with it. And it's like, no, stop doing that. And it's my biggest pet peeve. So when this show is all said and done and it's already been confirmed to be renewed for season 2, I'm going to be upset if it doesn't connect to Solo in some way. I am fully expecting to meet Kira somewhere along the way because, again, like I said the first episode, we've seen Maul's origin and we've seen Maul's ending. This is a weird show where it's not a prequel and it's not a sequel. We're just getting the middle. So it's like, don't give me this and not have it connect to anything else, you know, because it's like, we're not going to come back to Maul for a 4th time at this point. Finish the story, please. So I am really, really wanting this show to end with Maul being stranded on Malachor. I don't know how they're going to get there. Who's going to do it? Is it Devin? Is it Kira? Is she gone at that point? Who knows? You know, there's a bunch of things. But I will be very disappointed if it doesn't connect in any sort of way in the future.
If it goes all the way to Malachor, it would have to go all the way through Solo, which I don't know when this season of Maul Shadow Lord is taking place either. But, I mean, he would have to meet Kira, whatever, groom her, have her rise all the way to Lieutenant in Crimson Dawn, and then do all the epilogue to Solo. I mean, I think that's a big ask. I would not. I am not expecting that. I think we'll get a 4th Maul show or appearance in something, maybe an animated season or Solo 2 or something like that, or book or comic. But I think, I mean, this is not the last time Maul's gonna be.
That part that connects, though, that is the only part that's like really missing. Like that's like the biggest part to the story that we're missing at this point. So don't save that for a book or a comic. You need to tell that in this story. Again, this show's already been confirmed for season 2. My hope is that Dave Filoni's being ambitious and he knows all of this and he's like, yeah, no, I'm planning on this being like a Clone Wars level, you know, 6 to 7 season long show, and we're going to cover all that ground. Because if they just completely leave that out and they just leave all of that on the table, I'm going to be disappointed. Because again, we already know Maul's beginning and his end. Like, what are you going to do in the middle? Like, we need some sort of character out of Maul. Right now, he's just a presence. He's just a force. When he's on screen and he's being cool, it's awesome. But how are you going to make him interesting? Going back to what I was saying earlier. And I think that's how you do it, right? I mean, you got to give him other characters to interact with, show a side of him that we haven't seen before. His relationships, his relationship with Devin, a relationship with Kira. I don't mean that in a romantic way. I mean that in like an apprentice crime lord kind of way. And you know, we need to flesh that out. I would be disappointed if it doesn't connect at all. I don't know how much of like the detail I actually want. I'm just saying we already know certain time markers in Maul's life that we need to start connecting these dots with.
I wouldn't turn it away, but I am not expecting that. I'd be kind of surprised if it went post Solo. If we end up on Malachor, I think I'd be surprised.
I feel like I'm in the camp with Maxwell for the fact that I feel like if this is a show that's named after him, this kind of should be the capstone of Maul, right? Like we've seen, he keeps returning and we all love it as the fans, but I feel like if you're going to name a show after him, I feel like this should be it, right? Like if it's his show and then there's a comic or something afterwards, it feels like less than we're like the medium that you really, I feel like he deserves to be shown in this regard should be television or film. And I just don't think it's gonna, I feel like that'd be weird if it was gonna end in a different format after a show is named after him.
All right, I'm just gonna throw.
If not now, when?
I'm gonna throw an absolute grenade into this conversation and speak my mind.
No.
I worry with what you guys are saying, having it be longer and go through all these plot points with Maul that we want to see. I worry, given where we've started, that it would be similar to Andor in the sense that season 1 of Andor I thought was absolutely perfect, introduced a lot of side characters that I was super excited to see over several seasons, and then the following seasons got condensed into one, and all these characters that I had grown to love a lot in season 1, Brasso, B2EMO, Vel and Cinta, their stories were reduced to very little of what I was expecting it to be had it been longer. And this Maul show, I worry that if it goes big with Maul and he becomes, it feels weird to say, becomes the main character of his own show. But right now, I'm all in on Devin, Eco, Lawson, and Two Boots. And if they get left in the dust to just wrap up these big plot points with Maul that need to be hit, quote unquote, I will be very disgruntled.
I think it's a good call, Luke. Because right now we've been circling this. Maxie, I think you explicitly said this as well, in the fact that Maul is. I think that's a great. It's a nice thing that he is like the emperor of his own show, where he is a presence, and we're kind of everything he is doing is affecting all these other people, and we're kind of getting this like web of characters that he is kind of tying together. So I think in that regard, it's interesting, but it's all going to come to a head by the end of the season for sure. And now I am wondering what the plan is, right? Like, is it going to be 2 seasons and that's it? Is it going to go further? But I cannot tell.
I was rewatching episode 3 today, and I almost picked up my phone to Google if Maul Shadow Lord was confirmed for a season 2, because I kind of thought that it was. But then I put my phone back down because that means nothing. If it's confirmed for 2 seasons, it's just as likely that we'll get 2 or 3 or 4 or 1 season still. I'm so jaded on this, on announcing stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I want to be more optimistic. Has there been animated projects this far along that they've also backed out on? They've definitely done it on a million live action movies and shows.
Resistance was canceled before its time, but that's not quite the same. They didn't announce season 3.
That was never renewed for a season 3
Right.
though, and then walked back. That was just. Yeah,
which
might also happen with Maul. We don't know what the numbers are. Critically, this is being received very well. I'm looking at IMDb right now because I'm looking at and all the episodes ratings: 8.4, 8.0, 8.3. Episode 4 was a 9.0. It's always high immediately after they release, so maybe those last 2 episodes will come down a little bit. But I mean, that is crazy high ratings for a Star Wars show.
So what sucks is that the people that are rating these are basically us, right? The big fans. And it's like, it's a bummer that so many
that's
other...
how it's supposed to be.
No, but I mean, like, other people aren't... When
what
the
sucks
Acolyte...
is all the people who rank the Acolyte without watching it.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is what I was going to say is, like, the Acolyte comes out and then it's, like, flooded. So, like, you can't have... Like, the scale is flawed to begin with, right? Because, like, it's like, oh, you don't like the Acolyte because you think it's woke, but you haven't even seen the choreography or whatever. And it's a bummer because but at the same time, again, fuck them. I actually like it more, like you just said, Max. Like we are the fans. We are.
Have you guys
we have the power
about the Acolyte a lot more in light of Maul Shadow Lord?
I always think about the combat all the time, but that's the only aspect of the show I really think about, to be honest.
I keep thinking
not in a bad way.
Watching it right now, but not necessarily in light of Maul Shadow Lord. What connection are you making?
Drawing someone to the dark side, the Maul Devin relative to Chimere Osha storyline, because I was thinking about it a lot, because I mentioned how being seduced to the dark side is not a new thing for Star Wars, but in the saga films, it is almost exclusively due to family, like Anakin to Padme or Luke to Vader or Rey to Palpatine, and we rarely see it like actually just come sort of organically from someone that you don't know that well, with the exception of Dooku, which we don't see that detailed of a seduction even in Dooku Jedi Lost, which I was really disappointed with because of that. So yeah, I keep thinking about in Acolyte, like when Maul, especially in episode 3, when Maul is doing his little speech in the dark and really testing her, I don't know how you guys weren't thinking about it, because I felt like I was being attacked by memories of Chimere stripping naked in order to have this conversation, and how Maul doesn't have that option because he got cut in half and he does not have a dick and balls.
Doesn't have reproductive abilities.
And so
what if he does though? What if they cut it? What if Obi-Wan cut him so specifically that he still has?
I'm gonna need a bisection in a reference book showing all the exact bits and parts of Maul that are still intact.
it's above butt. There's no way he has butt and genitals. You can
I'm
see
not-
no, yeah. There's no way. His
It's
spider
an
legs like come up to
interest-
his belly button.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think they're gone. But anatomy aside, I wasn't making that connection in light of the familial aspect, which I think is an interesting point. But no, I mean the trope of trying to seduce a Jedi to the dark side. That like is the story of Star Wars. I mean, like,
It is,
oh,
but
they
we-
told the story a million times. Like, yeah, I know. That's literally what Star Wars is, though. Like, it's about light versus dark.
We really don't see it that often, though. For that being like the central theme of all of Star Wars, it's really just a few times, and it's always the family angle.
Well, and usually, like in the saga films, I mean, like that is the story. So this is more of like a plot beat, you know. Like I'm assuming by at least the end of season 1, Devin will probably be turned to the dark side in some degree.
What?
Whereas, like, you know, in the original trilogy, it's like that's the whole story. So it's like they're going to take 3 movies to do it instead of this being like the setup to the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like season 1 will end and it'll be like, all right, Darth Maul has his apprentice. Now season 2, they're doing this.
Yeah, that's a good call.
But I am interested in how that relationship is going to come about. So obviously the ending to episode 4 was really good. I like that moment between Lawson and Two Boots where they apologize to each other. And I don't know why. Like, you see it coming from a mile away, but they still did it so well when Two Boots was like, I'm sorry as well. And then you just hear the sound of the Star Destroyer coming over the city with the shot and everything. And my God,
I wanted to
know I talked
re-pull-
about the visuals
I wanted to
of
pull that up
the
again.
show in the last episode, but it is just so good.
I know. I like Two Boots, and it's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, I'll read my note word for word. Last week, I was shocked that the best part of Maul's show is the story between the cop and his son, and now it's the story between the cop and his droid. Like, Lawson is just such a compelling character in the most unexpected ways. They're really
Yep.
doing a lot of work with Two Boots to make him, like, the moment when Lawson like snapped at Two Boots and said that's an order to drop it and not bring in the Empire when they're in the speeder, and Two Boots has that line. I wish I had written it down. Like, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to supersede your authority. And he says authority with such dripping sass. It's like we've never seen resentment like this from a droid character. This is taking sentience to a whole new level. Like, the droids have always been alive and their own person, but Two Boots, and then at the end of episode 3 when he's at the desk and he covers up that picture of he and Lawson,
Oh my God, yes.
that was such a good moment. That picture that was clearly not like, hey, Lawson and Two Boots, let's take a picture together because we're friends. That was like both of them at their job happened to be in the same frame and someone snuck a picture, and Two Boots has it on his desk and then covered it up. That might have been, with the exception of all the lightsaber fights, my favorite part of these 2 episodes.
Which was most of the 2 episodes.
There's some
You
good
know
fights.
that that was a birthday party and there was a sheet cake for Lawson that day. That's why they got that picture.
It was.
Like, let's let loose during lunch a little bit, you know?
I think I talked about The Office last week also, but it was really giving Dwight Schrute and Michael Scott vibes.
I don't think you did say that, but that's incredibly accurate. Yes.
Yeah, for definitely being the last action figure I would want from this entire show, Lawson is really stealing it for me as well. And usually that's a pretty direct correlation, like, would I want to play with this action figure or not? As being my favorite character, but
I mean, also, can we talk about Ludi and how great that action figure would be? And also the fact that somebody who steals things' name is Ludi. I think I said it last week too, but like, it's just getting me every time. I'm just like, it's so good.
They know what they're
So
doing.
he's
Who
a
is
funny
he?
side character. Like, I don't like necessarily care about like his well-being or interest or anything,
Ooh,
but
I
like I
disagree.
like him. Like
I think he's fun.
there's usually annoying characters where I'm just like, all right, whatever, you know. Like the Bad Batch has to talk to their Trandoshan bartender lady for the next mission, But it's like I
Sid
don't care
was not
about that
annoying.
character. Sid,
Thank
you.
Sid-
I am getting sick and tired of all this
no,
Bad
not
Batch slander.
annoying.
I didn't even-
Not
I think-
annoying. I'm
yeah.
saying, was Sid anyone's favorite character?
No, that is. But I think Ludi
That's
is
our
fun.
bar. Favorite character or bust?
Well, I think like
Not favorite.
Ludi
Yes.
is like when
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
when he's when he betrays Maul, and you think it's Maul, and they have this cool ass action scene when you're like, oh, this is awesome. It feels very epic, and then you realize it's not Maul, and you have throne room esque fight scene with Maul and the Pikes, and also they're doing the Pikes justice for the first time in a long time. It feels like too, where the Syndicate actually feels threatening, like everyone actually feels threatening in the show, which is really nice too. But I feel like Ludi, when you realize he is alive, and you're like, oh yes, I kind of forgot about him in this madness. I was glad he's alive. Like he's a scumbag, but he's like interesting, and I feel like I'm like, yeah, he's
that's
our
a good way to put
scumbag,
it,
you know?
I will be disappointed when he dies.
Yes, he's
I'm
too
pretty-
small.
I would have considered myself lukewarm on Ludi. I guess I'm more cold than lukewarm. I have no feelings for that character.
There's not a character in this show that I'm lukewarm on except for Rook Cast. She's still the only one
Yeah.
who
Yeah, I agree
I'm
with
waiting
that.
to see if they go more in detail with her or not. Which maybe, I just need to go back and rewatch the trailer. She seemed like she was going to be a prominent figure. Maybe that was my thing. Maybe that's not the case at all. But she seemed like she was Maul's number 2. So I thought there was going to be more from her. And yeah, we haven't seen anything really. Everyone else stealing the show.
Yeah. No complaints. It's great.
Another note that I had, another favorite line of mine from episode 3, Two Boots, and he says, "You go to the space lacrosse game. I'll do this. I enjoy repetitive and potentially thankless tasks." I'm gonna
Yes.
print that out for my desk
Man.
at work. That is too funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't describe corporate America.
Right.
The I like how in the original trilogy they're referencing like Nazis and the Empire taking over and everything, and modern Star Wars is just a commentary on corporate America.
They stick with the times.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say though, Luke, you pointed this out last week, and we've talked about it a bunch, but like, the cinematography and the way the show just looks is stellar. In episode 3, like I said, it's so frightening when the lights go out and Maul is just in the shadows, and you see his eyes and the shadows of his horns going up the stairs, and then even like the lightsaber battles, like it all looks amazing, and it gives me that feeling that I got. And every time I still watch it, Force Awakens, when they ignite the saber in the snow, that's such a distinct feeling, and I feel like this show gives it to me every single time a saber lights up, because most of the show is at night and in different settings, and I've been in love with that the scene, and I just feel like maybe Star Wars at nighttime is what I'm looking for lately. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like it gives me the feeling of that in Force Awakens, and as well as in Kenobi when Vader and Kenobi meet for the first time, and then he drags him to the fire and yada yada, and the hidden path. That is the same feeling. This whole show is just that whole feeling to me, and I'm like, I just get a tickle every time I see the credits come on. I'm like, oh my god, it's just the credits. I have a whole other 15 minutes left of the show.
If Maul,
It's a great feeling every week so far.
if Maul didn't start in the Phantom Menace, like his design looks so perfect in this style. I would almost say that
Yeah.
like you couldn't translate this to live action. Like I look at Maul, like
Yeah.
Ray Park Maul now, and I'm like, oh, that looks like kind of a silly edition of Darth Maul, but like just because this one is instantly so
funny.
iconic and perfect.
Yeah. Is that funny that we're just like Sam Whitmere is like, yes, that is Maul, and it's like,
Whitwer.
yeah, well, like Whitwer, like Sam or Ray Park like was and still is, but it's so funny to be like, damn.
I was trying. I watched these episodes with my wife, and we were on the couch in my basement, and she's a teacher. She has a student who's real big into Star Wars, and I was talking about him, and I was like, oh, you know what you should tell him, because I'm sure that he's watching Maul Shadow Lord. And I was like geeking out with her. I was like, look, you see that comic over there? That's Maul, son of Dathomir. It's signed by Sam Witwer, who voices Maul, and that's the guy who's voicing Maul right now. So I have this Maul comic signed, and I was going on and on about how much I love this comic and the fact that I have it signed by Sam Witwer. And her response was, "Is that the Allstate guy?" I was like, yes, that is the voice of the Allstate guy. But Maul.
That is a great call, Lauren, because it is hard to hear him now in anything. Like, I also have that same thought every time he's on screen.
I did not know that until we talked about it on pod last week, but now that I have, I'm just like, I'm just waiting for him to say the line now.
Yeah. God forbid Lawson gets in a car crash with him. You'll know who to call.
I don't want this to sound like a negative, but another note that I had, because it was really cool, and I'm like almost mad that this analogy jumped into my head at the same time. When episode 3 ends and he name drops her and calls her Devin, assumedly he knew the whole time, but he wanted her to tell him his name so that she would be on his side, and that was like a power seeding to tell him your name. I liked that, and I liked it, but
yeah, it was a great moment.
For whatever reason, maybe I just recently listened to this song, but as soon as it happened and then it like cuts to credits, I thought of the Aaron Carter song where he beat Shaq, and then it ends, "How'd I get a jersey with the name O'Neal?" And it just like fades out.
What?
Like, oh, he had it the whole time.
That's the connection that you make.
Yeah,
Luke.
I have no idea why.
That is a reference I would expect Max to make, but I'm glad to know that two Taylors are
I was
truly
with
two
it
peas in a
100%.
pod.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I appreciate it. I just think that is wild that's the connection that you. I mean, that's like, golly, I can't think of an example off the top of my head to save my life, but that's a trope, where it's like, oh, they're testing this person and they know the answer the entire time. Yeah, I thought the same thing, though. I thought that was a great ending to that first episode where he says her name. And then I thought the ending to episode 4 was also really good. And I'm really interested to see how this all plays out, because I kind of thought that Daki was going to be a goner after the fight with Maul. Mm-hmm. And I was a little surprised that he made it out okay, injured, but not life-threatening. It didn't seem like he was stabbed, but he was like holding his gut pretty good afterwards. Like he was making it seem like it was worse than it was.
You remember last week I said I didn't think Daki was going to die that soon because he needs a couple scenes with Lawson and with Maul and with Devin. And
he cranked all those out.
Yes, he sure did. I was thinking about that as I was watching this fight scene, and I was like, it really would be okay if he died here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was like, what character purpose does he serve now? I was like, he's pretty expendable, isn't he? So I was surprised when he survived. But then obviously it ends with the Empire coming in, and we know from the trailers and all the marketing and everything that the Inquisitors are going to play a big part of this, and I'm very interested to see how that affects Devin and Daki's relationship, because presumably the whole thing is going to vindicate Maul. Like Maul's whole thing was, we have a common enemy, and now that the Inquisitors are there, they're obviously going to be hunting Maul, but they're also going to be hunting Devin and Daki. So there's going to be that validation for Maul, and Devin's going to start to see that, and I'm interested to see how that plays out with Daki still in the picture for however long that remains the case.
Yeah.
I'm also very intrigued. Daki also injured Maul, and I'm not trying to get into the biomechanics here, but it's a metal leg. It would have tore your ACL if you had organic legs, but just come on, let's take a wrench and get on with it, Maul. What are we doing?
Take a wrench. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. It was like a good move in the middle of the fight, and then I was surprised that they had like that callback as they were fleeing in the tunnel, and he like stopped and grabbed his leg before like bringing the tunnel down behind him. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, and then it went to Daki, and he was also injured, and I thought after the fight, both of them were basically going to be okay, right? So I was surprised to see them kind of following up on that and being like, is that going to be a beat? That's why I was like confused as to how injured Daki actually was.
Is this going to be a
'cause he
beat?
was
Does
just
it
like
need to
kicked,
be?
wasn't he? He wasn't stabbed. I'm not crazy.
No, I'd remember if he was stabbed.
Like there was a weird close-up shot of him like holding his stomach with his hand, and it seemed like it was one of those shots where it's like he was going to slowly lift his hand and you were going to see that he got shot the whole time, you know, like one of those moments. But obviously
He
that
got shot the whole time. Just the same shot over and over again. Boom, 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 boom. It's
Yeah,
just
no.
Fucking goddamn it.
Maul just like donkey kicks him in the tummy, and he falls down like a flight of stairs, and he clutches his belly again there, and then at the end when he's walking home with Devin. But yeah, it was just blunt force trauma, healable. Not that lightsaber
Yeah,
stabs are not healable. We've come to learn that they are, but this is even more healable. Maybe this is how they get back at us for always whining about people surviving lightsaber stabs. Daki goes out with just a kick to the chest.
just a kick to the gut. He's an old guy. He seems like. I mean,
He's
maybe
old,
I'm reading
and
into it because he's kind of like a turtle.
the biological difference is he's like half Maul's size. Like imagine getting kicked in the chest by something twice your size. I would die.
And metal, I would die. Just turn to dust. Gone.
Yeah, and metal too.
What do you guys think moving forward? Any predictions? Anything that you're excited for? Anything that you want to see?
We never. I don't know if you're wrapping up. Sorry if you weren't. But space lacrosse. I wanted to tie that back. If you watched our episode 1 review, which is like the only movie that we reviewed, and I didn't record my audio for it. It was a horrible episode. I don't recommend listening back to it. But
Which one was it?
Our Phantom Menace review, Star Wars episode 1. I talked for a long time about the prop in Anakin's bedroom, the little metal scoop that someone thought was otherworldly, but everyone our age had 5 of those, with 4 of them being broken in a bag of recess equipment. And it was like weird, and now it's been tied back that is officially what we all thought it was. It's a space lacrosse tool.
Yep. Not really hiding it. Just figured people don't really know what this sport is.
I thought that was right up there with it's obviously not quite right up there, but the Kessel Run being measured in parsecs being like a mistake from then, and then they retroactively made it like canon and sort of work. Like there's no way they just wanted this when they were set designing Anakin's room. They wanted him to have a space lacrosse scoop. They thought that looked like something cooler, but then everyone realized it wasn't, and so they had to make it a space lacrosse scoop.
Yeah, that's the kind of retconning that I absolutely love in Star Wars.
Jaffiel.
Any other closing thoughts? I was closing, so if you had anything else,
Maul,
just keep going.
During our did we review the Siege of Mandalore? We didn't review the Siege of Mandalore, so I forget when I talked about this, but I'm sure it was on pod. Maybe in a Best Fights episode. He does the thing where he kicks his right foot back to thrust his right arm forward harder, which I always attributed to a uniquely Ray Park thing, because in the Siege of Mandalore he did the mocap and obviously the Phantom Menace. But nope, they can animate that and it looks just as sick. So love that move from Maul still. All the lightsaber choreography was awesome.
But I'm sure they used the previous footage from the mocap as reference, so it's not like it went to waste or anything or was unnecessary.
No, yeah, I didn't mean to imply it was, but I was just excited to see that specific move. Did you guys catch it? Do you remember me talking about it before?
I did not know. I remember talking about it. I mean, off pod we also talk about it a lot. But no, I feel like I was even kind of looking for that, and I did not notice it.
It was so cool. It's there.
To go back and rewatch it.
I also want to talk about Force Lightning. Can Maul use Force Lightning? I feel like Force Lightning is something we should see more as Star Wars fans. It is so cool. Right?
I like it reserved.
but reserving it is
Yeah.
like it's cooler than it's been
cool.
used. Like we only really see Palpatine use it not that effectively most of the time. Like it was awesome. Dooku uses it really well in the Clone Wars a couple times, but like the Dooku Yoda Force Lightning in Attack of the Clones, Snoke using it to like a bounce pass to hit Kylo, that was awesome. But like, yeah, Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith and Return, it's pretty cool in Return of the Jedi because of the shock factor, but like he's clearly going for the kill and just kind of not putting enough power into it or something. I don't know. And then in the Rise of
That takes a long
Skywalker, he
time.
gets it
I mean-
bounced back into him. I think that Force Lightning, there's a lot of meat on that bone that we have not yet seen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm okay with not seeing it. I don't disagree that it's cool. I mean, if I did see it, I'd be like, oh, that's neat. I don't think there's a reason why Maul wouldn't know how to do it, other than the more you talk about it, the less effective it sounds. Like it takes a long time to actually kill somebody this way, and it's incredibly easily countered. So, really just a very ineffective,
By Yoda or Rey, that's not easy.
or anyone holding up a lightsaber.
Obi-Wan. These are the goats of the Order, Max.
But Obi-Wan just held up his lightsaber, though. He wasn't, I don't know.
He makes it
maybe
look
there was a
easy
little bit of-
because he's the goat.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm not like predicting that we'll see more. I just think it's a conversation that needs to be talked about more. It's so cool.
It's hard to argue with.
Yeah, it is.
And
it
this is an
cool.
appropriate spot for it, too. The Acolyte Season 2 probably would have had some really cool Force Lightning. I bet Darth Plagueis uses the shit out of Force Lightning.
Seems likely. Matthew, what about you? Anything else?
Love it.
Luke, do you have
Excited.
another one? Are you still going?
Yeah,
you look
I
like
do.
you were about to say another
I
one.
do have another one.
Matt,
Jesus.
shut up. Luke, keep
I got
going.
tiramisu waiting for me.
It's a bigger one, so buckle in. We were talking about Obi-Wan. Will Obi-Wan be an element in this show? I don't think he's going to be a character. I don't think he'll make an appearance, but Maul's character arc, or character, since coming back in the Clone Wars, he comes back, sole purpose, get revenge on Obi-Wan. And then he gets distracted. He's like a dog chasing cars. And now he's like, all right, now I'm just going to get distracted. Now I just need to get revenge on Palpatine and Sidious. And now that's his mission right now. But we know by the time of Malachor, he's back on the all I care about is revenge on Obi-Wan train. So I wonder what's going to happen. Because he definitely will not satisfy his desire for revenge on Sidious. But something happens that he goes back to Obi-Wan.
Well, if it connects that far, like I hope it does, then presumably we would get him realizing that Obi-Wan's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
He probably thinks he's dead at this point.
He thinks he's dead until Rebels. He learns from the Sith holocron when he and Ezra open it together that Obi-Wan is alive.
Oh, is that when he learns?
But then why was he...
So then, no, he probably wouldn't be an element in this show then.
No, and I kind of just remembered that too, so this is unraveling my thoughts in real time. When we find Maul on Malachor, he's not thinking about Obi-Wan. What's he doing there? He's actually just doing nothing there? We don't know.
He's just. My understanding is he was stranded there.
Yeah, but he had to have been festering about something. He never has any waking hours without just being crotchety about someone. And I thought he was being mad at Obi-Wan during that time.
Old Maul always being a grump.
Classic.
I need to rewatch that episode of Rebels now to find out more. What information do we know about him at that time?
It's like one of the best episodes of Rebels, so that'll be a nice treat.
It is, but I usually watch Rebels on the 24/7 channel, so I usually don't pick what episode I watch. But this one I'll have to go on Disney Plus and specifically select.
That is all my notes. Thank you for indulging me.
All right, Matthew. I assume because you're got one eye on your tiramisu that you don't have any other notes.
No, just the same as before. I'm loving it. I'm excited for next week already.
Yes, absolutely.
I love tiramisu.
and I'm excited to see how the Empire plays a role in all this. I'm very excited to see some Inquisitor
Oh, I
action.
wanted to say that about when the Empire showed up. You mentioned the sound effect of the Star Destroyer. Star Destroyers don't really have a sound effect. I thought that was kind of a missed opportunity to have a TIE fighter sound effect and like a TIE swooping low overhead. That's like one of the most iconic ship sounds in Star Wars. And like it was a cool shot. I've seen that shot before of a Star Destroyer slowly eclipsing the entire frame. I know people love to see that homage time and time again, so I'm not mad about it, but I would have liked to hear the TIE fighter scream.
We've seen it before. We've also heard it before. I was mostly talking about the klaxon blaring and how it kind of cut to black as that was going on. But what did that happen in recently? Was it an episode of Andor Season 2?
The klaxon, is that like the alarm?
Yeah.
I like how everyone's just thinking.
I was rewatching it. I was wondering if you guys were frozen. Yeah, you hear like the alarm that I
I'm
always
trying to
thought was
think
more of
of
a
where else we've
rebel
seen it.
alarm. Now I'm trying to place exactly when I hear it. It's the alarm from the Tantive 4, like at the end of Rogue One, that alarm blare that was also very present in the Rogue One trailer.
Is it also in the Tantive 4? I mean, maybe it's just a general alarm sound then in Star Wars. But I mean, you definitely hear it on the Death Star.
When does the alarm go off on a Death Star? In Return of the Jedi, when the second Death Star is blowing up? It might be then.
I want to say yes, but now that you're pressing me on this, I will need to do some further research. I'm confident it's associated with Imperial ships, either Star Destroyers, Death Star, etc.
Okay. I'll defer.
I'll come back next week with more information. But they ended this episode as well. The thing that I'm trying to rack my brain about is this ending was literally used in another Star Wars show in the exact same way, where it's a cut to black and that alarm is still blaring.
Are you thinking of Rogue One before Vader turns on his lightsaber?
No, I'm not thinking of Rogue One.
I know what you're talking.
Whatever.
I think it's the Acolyte.
Was it the Acolyte? I feel like it was recently, which is kind of why I was thinking Acolyte or maybe Andor, but then I was like, why? Where in Acolyte would that have been?
I'll sit on it. Because that tiramisu coffee dessert is
It
calling
made
my
more sense
name.
to be in Andor. All right, whatever. We'll think about it. That'll be our research for next episode. Does anyone have any Force for Thought to leave us with? I do have Force for Thought that I wanted to discuss. I wanted to bring this to the group to see what you guys thought. The whatever. So in Revenge of the Sith, Emperor Palpatine executes Order 66.
Yes.
And one thing that I realized is that all of these clone troopers say, "Yes, my lord." And it's like, oh, that's weird that like they're referring to him as Lord all of a sudden, because I've never referred to anyone as Lord, you know? And the only time that one of the clone troopers said it within earshot of somebody who would have overheard that was Gree standing right behind Yoda. He either says, "Yes, my lord," or "It will be done, my lord." And he says it within earshot of Yoda. And this was after the shot of like Yoda obviously sensing a great tragedy happening, because he like clutches his chest and he drops his cane and everything. But I can't help but think that saying that within earshot of Yoda probably also like solidified to Yoda like exactly what was going on in that moment, because I'm like, maybe he just sensed all that through the Force. But in episode 4, A New Hope, Obi-Wan also senses Alderaan being blown up, but he doesn't exactly know that that's what happened. So you can't say like, oh, he sensed exactly this event through the Force. Like, I don't think Yoda sensed like, oh, all the clone troopers just turned on all the Jedi and now they're massacring them.
Yeah.
But I think he sensed something terrible, and then overheard Gree say, "Yes, my lord," and that was like a huge red flag for him. And then once he kind of came up behind him and his spidey sense started going off even further, he was like, "I'm just gonna decapitate this guy."
He really did commit to that understanding of the situation You know, you could just turn around and like slice their guns in half or something similar. But he was 100% certain that they were ready to be dead.
Yep.
Yeah, and I feel like you saw hesitation elsewhere, specifically Ki-Adi-Mundi. Like, Ki-Adi-Mundi was looking at everyone draw guns on him, and he still wasn't really understanding what was happening until it was too late, and then he tried, like, defending it and blocking it off and everything. Yoda was much more proactive about it.
That freaking loser. He never knows what's going on.
Even to the end. Nothing. No, not a fucking thought in that man's head. His big ass head.
But yeah, I think basically what I'm getting at is I think if Gree had whispered that Yoda would have died.
I agree. Yeah. Close call.
So the only reason Yoda lives was because Gree is a bit of a loudmouth.
He almost died a very confused and sad old man.
But anyway, feel free to think about that.
I keep thinking about, which I shouldn't be thinking about it, the practicalities of Obi-Wan saying a disturbance in the Force as if a million voices cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. How similar that would be to Yoda's disturbance in the Force when Order 66 is executed, because the people being killed are Jedi and Force sensitive. So if their tremors echo louder through the Force, or maybe just because Yoda has more of a personal relationship with them, there are no answers to these questions.
No, and piggybacking off of a previous Force for Thought that Luke previously provided, their use of the Force was also greatly diminished by this point in time.
Oh, that's true too. Maybe like 10 years ago, Yoda would have known everything.
That's even a better Force for Thought, maybe.
It is a good thing Gree got decapitated, because Palpatine would have done just heinous things to him if word got back to him that he let this slip a little too early to Yoda, of all people.
Now I'm thinking, when Obi-Wan said that, and then obviously they arrive at Alderaan, they think that they just came out of an asteroid field, and then they see the moon. That's no moon. That's a space station. Turn around. They're pulling us in. We never really got any, like, resolution from Obi-Wan as to what happened.
No, and then he dies. Yeah.
And I think, like, he obviously knew that there was, like, a huge potential massacre. But, like, part of it is, like, you don't just make that assumption. You don't just go, like, oh, I think a planet just blew up. Because, like, how could they do that, you know? And I think it's kind of the same thing with Yoda in that moment, too. It's like, oh, I think all the Jedi are dying right now? Surely that's not correct. How could that happen? And then you overhear your clone trooper say, yes, my lord. And you're like, who the fuck is your lord? So, yeah, off with his head. Anyway, let us know what you think. You can reach out to us across social media at Force for Thought, or you could email us at forceforthought@gmail.com.
Cheers, Evan.